Production funding is provided by A. Reddix and Associates, Health Information Resource Center, offering short-term training for long-term professional careers in medical coding. HIRCVA.net.
Discussing the issues and celebrating the successes of the African American community. This is Another View.
Hello everyone, I'm Barbara Ham-Lee. Welcome to Another View. February is Black History Month, where we celebrate the accomplishments of African American trailblazers who have made a difference. Now usually we look back, but tonight we've decided to focus on the future by introducing you to two young ladies who have a message to share, and so they both wrote a book. Please meet 11-year-old Khalela Thompson, author of Oh Where Is My Swallowtail, Cecilia Thompson, Khalela's mom, 14-year-old Anissa Riddick, author of Magic of Friendship, and poet, author, and publisher Nathan Richardson. Welcome to Another View, everybody.
Thank you.
I am so excited you have young authors on the show. That is fantastic. Khalela, I'm going to start with you. This is your book. This is called Oh Where Is My Swallowtail. And what is this about?
It's about a girl who loses her swallowtail, then she finds it at the end, and she meets all these types of critters.
Okay, and the swallowtail is what?
The swallowtail is Virginia State insect, and it's the eastern tiger swallowtail.
And how did you get interested in this topic, that you wanted to write a book about it?
I wanted to write a book on my backyard adventures and show kids that like you could get out there and get active.
And so did you just go to your mom one day and say, Mom, I want to write a book?
No, first when I was little, I actually had lost my swallowtail and I had some speech problems, and so I only knew 10 words. And my grandma and my grandpa, they brought me books, so I read to my caterpillars and the eggs and the whole life cycle of a butterfly. And then my mom showed me the tape, and she said, Khalela, do you want to write a book? And I said yes.
And that's it. And that's how it started. How long did it take you?
I started this book in December 2008, and I kept on working on it for 4th and 5th grade, and then finally came to 6th grade, then it finally came out.
That is fantastic. Now, our other author is Anissa Riddick, and she wrote Magic of Friendship, and this is a full novel.
Yes.
Anissa, now tell us what it's about first.
Well, the book is about a 12-year-old girl named Jas Antonis who has very well-known parents, and all her life she's been judged and criticized for who her parents are, and people don't really take a chance to get to know who she is. And it's about how when she enters middle school, she discovers who she is without them and who she is on her own, with the help of her family and with the help of her friends.
Now, in full disclosure to our audience, your mom and her company is one of the production funders for Another View. So I got to ask you, is a little bit of this autobiographical, since your parents are so well known?
Actually, no. It's I have the personal experience with the stereotypes, but not exactly with my parents. I kind of just added that in for a twist, you know, make it exciting.
And what made you decide to write this book?
I've always loved writing books, and I had a problem with finishing them. So me and my mom kind of made a deal that if I finished one, she'd publish it, and this is the one that I finished because I was so passionate about it. And here it is now.
Fantastic. Cecilia, you used books to help Khalela get through a speech issue.
I believe 0 to 5 is the years to start building a love for literacy. And Khalela had a speech impairment. She also needed OT, occupational therapy, and physical therapy when she was 1.5 years old. And true, she only knew 10 words. And we read and read and read to Khalela. And she would have trouble expressing herself, but I always noticed she would go out to the garden, get on her little bench or little rock and those little eggs on that leaf, and she opened up that book and she would read, and I would say, she's reading to the caterpillars again, Jeffrey. I don't know if they understand her, but she would just mumble it, and I feel that Khalela didn't feel like she was judged. You know, she could speak that type of language. But every day she read, and more, her vocabulary grew, her language started growing, and that was a good start.
That's fantastic. Nathan, have you worked with authors this young and this accomplished?
I tell you what, I have, but these are three excellent choices you made for the show. I mean, some of the things that I teach in my self-publishing workshops, these young ladies, just in the few minutes that I met them in the green room and now seeing them answer questions on air, they are really, you know, at a high level of articulation about what their story is, and I can see the passion that they have. One of the things that I tell young people is that no gift can be found without curiosity, and this young lady over here definitely has the curiosity. No talent developed without practice, and there is no genius without passion, and both of them definitely have the passion.
So you could see them going on and writing even more.
Absolutely.
I want you to read some of your book for us. Can you do that for me?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have it? Do you have your copy? Or I told both of the authors to be prepared to read just a little bit from the book.
I've lost my swallowtail. Can you help me find her? She lives in my garden. My swallowtail. Did my teacher say swallowtail started from an egg, a caterpillar, a cocoon, or an egg, a caterpillar, a chrysalis? What do you think? Where should I look? Where would you look? Oh no, you're not my swallowtail. Who are you? I'm a ladybug. Oh no, you're not my swallowtail. Who are you? I'm a spider. You know what? I can't turn this page because I want you to find out the mystery. So remember, tell your aunties, your uncles, your grandparents, and your moms and dads to go buy the book. Don't delay. Buy the book today.
And she's a marketer on top of everything else.
See what I'm talking
That
about?
is fantastic. Thank you so much, Khalila. I tell you, now, what grade, who do you want to read your book?
Well, it was for beginner readers and pre-K to first, but anyone could read my book. I saw that older kids enjoy, even adults.
Even adults, too. Okay, and we're going to tell people in just a little bit where they can find your book so they can go out and buy it also. And listen, we want to hear from your book, too. It's a novel, and I started reading part of it. It's very good.
You did.
Both of these books are very good, but why don't you read us an excerpt from your book?
Okay, well, I chose the ending, which I don't think spoils the story, but I wanted to really give you a taste of the book. So, that night, as Jazz and her friends danced around her room, she had an epiphany. It didn't matter anymore about her last name. She knew inside who she was, and she had friends who loved her for her. Was it that she could overcome stereotypes? Yes, but not alone. September had been more than 30 days crammed together, another month on the calendar. It had been a time of change, a time of learning, a time of forgiving. It had been a time of love. Suddenly, it came to Jazz. It was the magic of family, the magic of friendship.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Nathan, these young ladies are self-published, meaning that they're going to have to go out pretty much, do their own promotion. You know, nobody wrote them a royalty check up front to get them started.
That's right.
And so forth. What about the marketing of this, and how does that work?
That's the biggest part of marketing or publishing any book. Everybody thinks publishing means once I've got the book printed, then I'm good to go. But all the things that they're exemplifying here, as far as being able to read your book, talk about your book, give an interview about what your book is all about, all of these are things and parts of publishing. And so you've got to, you know, put on your own book signings and orchestrate all kinds of things. So just from what I've seen so far, they're well on their way. They were.
And what about getting shelf space, like in the bigger bookstores and that kind of thing?
Well, that is part of setting up and getting your book printed, that you do want to know how to produce a book that is going to allow you to do that. Sometimes you can print a book and you don't have all the specs that you would need to have a book printed, be it a perfect bound book, spiral book, so forth and so on. The best way I could describe this, Barnes & Noble has a checklist that you can go online and get it. And it'll tell you all the specifications that you would need to have a book on the shelf in Barnes & Noble, including the ISBN number, the barcode, and things like that. So you got to research all that kind of stuff before you actually print the book.
So it's a lot more than just writing the book.
Right.
After you've written it, then you've got to also get it.
Sure,
get it
because
out
you can end up with a book that you can't do anything with. Sure.
And you're in the 9th grade?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're in high school in Chesapeake?
Yes.
Okay. What are your friends saying now that you're a published author?
They're all pretty excited. I think they weren't expecting this. I've always been kind of overachiever in life, so they weren't super shocked, but it was kind of like, wow, you wrote a book that's published?
Wow.
That's interesting. That's pretty cool. I think a lot of them are starting to realize what they want to do and how they can do it. And
do you envision yourself being an author as a profession?
not really.
Okay.
I write for fun. I write because it makes me feel good, but I don't see myself doing it professionally forever. Just for now.
What about your English teachers?
Oh, of course, they were all excited. I went all the way back to every English teacher I've had, and they're all, my student published a book. It's all because I'm like, yes, yes. I had great English teachers, though, so they definitely helped out a lot.
Do you have a future project? Are you working on something else?
I'm working on the sequel for this right now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so your main characters are going to carry through?
Yes, I love them. I want people to relate to them and connect with them and just grow with them.
Kalila, what are your friends saying?
Well, before my friends even knew, I kept on the down low because I didn't want any attention to draw to me. And when they knew about it, they were so excited and they asked me questions about it. And my teachers, Miss Filkins, she didn't know that I had a book, and she's proud.
And you're in the 6th grade now?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay, so you're in middle school.
Yes.
So are you going to write another book?
Yes, I'm going to have 4 series, and the next one's going to be about all these critters who live by the Chesapeake Bay. And there's like a seagull, and it's in the wrong home, so I come down the road and then with my red wagon, and I pick up the seagull and it says, I've lost my way, can you help me find my way back home? And I do, and then everything's back to normal.
Everything's fine. So now, who's your favorite author? Do you have one?
I wouldn't, well, I don't really have a favorite author, but I know that any person could be my favorite author, but I know that I had a special talent, and any other kid has a special talent too.
Also. So when you read other books, what kind of books do you like to read? Just about nature, or do you like to read other things?
I like to read books about nature, mysteries, and like some books, like you have poems and Aesop fables.
Great. Now, you used Eggleston Services,
Yes.
which I believe is Kalila's book, the first book that they've published?
Yes, Eggleston Services took a chance on us, and Kalila is their first venture into publishing. So they're going to be doing a series of 4 books for Kalila, and the next one will be out around May or June. We've been grateful. They do the whole thing. They do the packaging, the distribution. They handle the cost.
How did you find them? How did that happen?
I think I just walked into luck. I think the stars were in the right path. Trevor Lucas is the illustrator, and I was printing, and it was using a lot of my ink. As you can tell, the graphics are, yes, beautiful. And I kept going back, spending $40. I said, I'll find a printer. I went through the yellow book and the phone book. And kids probably don't know what a phone book is now. Has pages and you turn them. And so I happened to see Eggleston's as a printer, and I called them and I said, do you think you could just print some out? And initially they were going to print it out. I was just going to staple them together with a staple machine and sell them for $2. And he liked it. And after a year of working with us, they never told me they were a publisher yet. I told them in May I saved up enough money for the ISBN number, like Nathan was talking about, barcode scan. And I said, guess what? I saved up the money. And they says, well, we have something we would like to tell you. We would like to be Khalila's publisher. And I'm sitting there like, oh. I said, so what does that mean? They said, we pay our royalties. I said, oh, well, what does that mean? We publish and distribute a book. I was like, oh, what does that mean? And then they've been wonderful. In fact, in a few weeks from now, it'll be in Barnes & Noble on the shelf and online. And she's going to the Virginia Festival of the Book. And as of January 28th, it's in the Newport News Public School System Pre-K and Head Start program.
Okay, that's fantastic. Nathan, if a child comes to their parent and says, I want to write a book, what's your advice to the parent to encourage and to be supportive?
Well, I would say get behind them and help them do all the investigation and research they need to put out a good book, and let them be the author. You know, let them write it and come up with their own design, take ownership of it, because in the long run it's going to be beneficial than writing something that somebody else has changed and about their concept. Children are no different than adult writers. When you come up with an idea, you want it to be your own. So you certainly want to let the children be, you know, express their own creativity.
Is it going to be easier, or I guess is technology making it easier to publish now?
Oh, absolutely, definitely. And she was saying she was publishing, she was doing the publishing on her own. She was printing the books and selling them for $2. It's a good way to get started. And a lot of authors, even the big authors, best-selling authors, have started where these young ladies are starting.
Anissa, what would you tell a young lady, young man, you know, around your age who's thinking about writing, or who just writes for pleasure, as you started out, in terms of taking that next step?
I tell them that it's impossible to dream too big and to just keep believing that they can do whatever they want to do. They don't have to wait until they're adults or until they're grown-ups. You can do whatever you want and just follow your dreams. That's what I did.
Okay. What was the hardest part for you in terms of writing the book?
The hardest part was editing. Not really the grammar part.
So you edited yourself?
We hired an editor.
Okay.
But the editor, of course, made suggestions. Well, maybe you should take this out. Well, maybe you should. And it hurts so much because it becomes like a part of you, and you have to cut out what's best for the book. Sure. But I have some favorite parts that didn't make the final cut in the book. But hopefully it's what's best for it.
How much pushback could you give in terms of that? And Nathan, I see you over there nodding because you've obviously had that experience in publishing yourself. So that relationship between the author and the editor, how much give and take is there?
My editor was very nice, and she was aware of the fact that I was younger and this was my first book, so she was quite gentle with me, I'll say. And she really let me do what I want to do, but kind of had that parental voice, you could say.
Okay. Nathan, you want to answer that question too?
Well, it was really, I mean, she just confirmed what I had earlier said. You know, she really owns the book, and she wants it to be like she intended it to be. But you do have to follow the guidance of your editor, because they may have some experience in the publishing arena that you might not be aware of. And you certainly want your book to be read by a broad spectrum of people. And so you don't want to paint yourself in a box as far as what you're writing.
Khalila, what would you tell your friends if they want to write a book?
That if you want to write a book, you have to go through a process, but anything that you want to do, you can set your heart out to it.
And are you going to write another one? Oh, you told me that. You're going to write 4 other ones. Okay. Do you know when? Have you started on the next set? You have. Do you think you want to be an author when you become an adult?
Well, I don't want to really be an author when I grow up, but I do enjoy writing books and stories because I have some that I saved on my word processor. But what I really want to be when I grow up is to be an entomologist, and that's the person who studies all types of bugs.
Okay. Now, I know that we have information on where to find both of the books. Now, do you have a book signing coming up? Anytime soon?
Well, I'll be going to this reading club, and I'll be reading my book there and signing.
Okay. And you can also get Where's My Swallowtail from Eggleston Services, 6431 Tidewater Drive, Norfolk, and you can write to them and they will send the book, correct?
Right.
And Anissa, you have a book signing coming up, don't you?
Yes, I do have a book signing on Saturday, February 26th from 3 to 5 at Terabeth in Chesapeake. That's going to be my first official book signing, my book launch.
And people can find your book at Amazon.com or at BarnesandNoble.com, correct? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And best of luck to you all in your authorship and in your book signings. And I know you're going to be extremely successful. So we're glad to have you on the show. And when we come back, more great news about our youth. This time it's young male scholars. But first, here's what's happening in Hampton Roads.
And heading towards manhood while maintaining brotherhood.
African-American male honor graduates. It sure sounds good to me. At Norfolk's Norview High School, these bright, ambitious teens have another name. They're called Dotson Scholars. Tonight, our Lisa Godley gives us an up-close look at the group that says it's cool to be smart.
We're coming from childhood and heading towards
the Dotson Scholars came out of a desire to see young African-American males succeed.
In 1999, our school board vice president, Anna Dodson, called me in the spring and said that she had a book scholarship for one of our African-American males. And I said, that's great, thank you so much. And I went back and looked at our list of honor grads, and to my chagrin, there was not one African-American male. We started at that time beginning very candid conversations about what we needed to do better. Number one that came out was that it's hard. It's very hard in an urban school to be smart and black and male. You'll be able to capitalize leaps and bounds.
Fast forward 11 years, and boy, has that attitude changed. Just ask Dotson scholar Michael Matamoro, who has high hopes for the program going nationwide.
And it's only a matter of time before it becomes not just a Norfolk thing, but an American thing, a nationwide thing. Everyone is going to know about the Dotson Scholars. And it will be cool for an African-American male to have a 4.0 or a 3.5 be an active part of their community and do stuff for their community. It won't be long before being smart is the new cool.
Right now, there are about 150 students in the Dotson Scholar program, all striving to graduate from Norview High School with honors. The initial 2.5 GPA needed to get into the program has increased. Now participants must have a 2.7. They meet once a month and focus on topics that will help them achieve success.
This school is all about leadership. So if you could take initiative, like if your class is being rowdy, like at least stand up, like they can understand you. Sometimes they don't get with the teacher, but they'll always be with you.
They also hear from speakers who are living proof that it can be done. Speakers like Norfolk Assistant City Attorney and Norview alum Derek Mungo. Mungo initially came to speak to the group, but was so taken by what he saw, he decided to become a part of it.
Having gone through that process as a young man right here in the same community, being smart was not necessarily the popular thing to do. But now the culture is so different. The kids want to be a Dotson Scholar coming in the door, and in each class we have kids that are achieving at high levels so that the numbers are going up with the honor graduates.
When Derek Mungo graduated from Norview High School in the late 1970s, there were 4 African-American males who were honor graduates. Last year, thanks to help from the Dotson Scholars, there were 16, and this year they expect to up that number to 19. Part of the program focuses on community service. The Dotson Scholars do that by tutoring and mentoring at 3 elementary schools.
For me, that was a great experience. I enjoyed it a lot because I look at it as some, younger males, they don't have that big brother So I felt like we could become that for them.
To let them see people who have been there and people who are achieving academically and who are doing something, who have purpose, who are going somewhere, that's priceless.
O'Neill Arrington has been the group's sponsor for the past 5 years.
It's a place where young black males build community and hold each other accountable for achieving academically and socially. It's kind of that place that's made being smart and being academic is now cool in this club.
Arrington says with all of the things the young men of today are exposed to, it's definitely an uphill battle, but one worth fighting.
But it's a battle, and when there's a battle, anybody can win, and I think we're winning it just a little bit at a time.
For Another View, I'm Lisa Godley.
It's all about helping our kids succeed. And that's our program for this evening. If you like this program, there are 3 ways to show your love. You can visit our website, anotherview.tv, and sign up for our eView newsletter, a once-a-week reminder of upcoming shows. Or you can become a friend on Facebook. Or you can become a member of WHRO. Basic membership is just $48, and your support ensures that programs like Another View can continue. And we really appreciate your support. Next week, a report card on the Urban League of Hampton Roads Empowerment 2010 Summit. We'll examine education and economics. And we'll see you next time for Another View.
Production funding is provided by A. Reddix & Associates, Health Information Resource Center, offering short-term training for long-term professional careers in medical coding. HIRCVA.net.